Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstroh of Oshkosh Media, and Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick.
Everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report, your source for the most current things going on in Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda highlights. I'm your host, Emily Springstroh, joined today by Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. So, John, thank you very much for joining us on City Manager's Report.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Yeah, it's great to have you. We got a lot to talk about, as always, so we're going to go ahead and dive into the first half of today's show and cover some of the hot topics and things that are going on here in Oshkosh. We'll take a little break, and then we'll return with some of the highlights coming up on the upcoming council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. So, John, first thing that we want to just recap a little bit is National Night Out, and that was this past Wednesday, August 6th, and It was a great night.
It was. I mean, we were very lucky with the weather, and I think there were a lot of folks that took advantage of the opportunity to get out and talk to their neighbors and mix a little bit with some city employees too, which was good.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's something that people look forward to every year, and a chance, like you said, for the neighbors to get together.
Right.
Oshkosh Media actually got out to a couple of the neighborhood parties.
Good.
And so I'm going to go ahead and just intro a brief video that we put together, kind of recapping National Night Out, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more. So take a look.
Well, it's fun because all the people come together in the community. They get to meet their neighbors. With the way that everything's going in the world today, we need some unity in the community. And so as you look around, you see the diversity here. The kids can show us how it's supposed to be done. You see all type of kids out here, and they're playing basketball. And it seemed like if we can get them to understand that, we should be the example as adults to see that we can get along.
And a lot of them may not even really know each other in this neighborhood, so this is a good way for them to connect on that level too.
It's just a fun night. Officers get to meet each other, the fire department get to come out, the kids get to maybe inspire them to do something, be an officer or a fire department.
Yeah, they get to check out all the equipment in the fire truck, and so the kids really enjoy that too.
You look out for one another. It's a beautiful relationship, and it can grow. And you know, just to there's houses that go up for sale, and people will say, "Oh, this is a great neighborhood to be in," or and just to say we look out for each other.
This is like the peak of the summer, and it's really nice to pull everybody together, meet people, new people who moved in during the year, see new babies, see how the kids have changed, just check with everybody, touch base. I think we all need to know each other. We're working together to keep it a happy, safe, comfortable community. So it's great to have those personal connections with our police and fire officers. That really makes a nice difference for us.
It can start in the house. It can start in the neighborhood. It can start in the neighborhood. It can start in the community. It can start in the community. It can start in the state. It can start in the state. We can take the nation. Start in the nation, it'll take the world. So that love will do it. That love will do it.
A lot of really good interaction, and like we saw in the video, a lot of kids having a great time together, and just an overall feel-good evening.
Right. I think it's just another benefit of the neighborhood association structure. It's a lot easier for people to reach out to each other, to organize things like block parties and get-togethers for the National Night Out, and just a real welcoming environment. And that's, of course, what we're working for and toward, here for the city.
Definitely. And if you're interested in learning more about if your neighborhood is an association or opportunities with that, check out the city website. Otherwise, on Facebook as well, there's lots of information about neighborhood associations. So be sure to look into that. Moving down, we want to give a little bit of a review to the last budget workshop. The first one has taken place, I believe it was last week, and it was kind of just a general overview,
Right.
First kickoff meeting of the budget process.
Right. I was pretty involved in the first one. We talked a little bit about HR-related items. We talked about staffing, benefits, wages, some of the collective bargaining agreements that we're responsible to honor and how that's going to impact the budget going forward. And yeah, I think it was a good session. I think for some of the new council members, I think it was, enlightening, and I think it was just a first blush to give everybody an understanding of, what the major drivers are to the budget. And because we're a service organization, staff and wages and benefits is a very large component of our budget. So I think also took a look back at how percentage-wise the budget was developed in terms of what the components are and what they are now, and percentage of spending, a little bit about debt, and where we're at, where we're trying to go, and how that might impact what we'll be able to plan for in terms of some of the larger capital items.
Sure.
So it was a good overview, I think, and of course there'll be many more meetings.
Yes, many more. It's only the beginning of the
That's
budget
right.
process,
Only
right?
the beginning.
So it sounds like it was a great first meeting. That meeting was covered by Oshkosh Media, so it is available on our website and on our YouTube channel for replay, as well as on our cable channels. But also the second budget workshop, scheduled for August 21st, 5 p.m. We'll also be covering it here at Oshkosh Media. But John, maybe give us a little preview of what's to come for
Sure. I think, in keeping with the theme of providing just a general overview to start out, and then to kind of funnel down to more detailed things, especially the individual budgets. We'll get to those at some point in the process. But the second meeting is also more general, talking more about financial components like our audit and some other things that are related to finance. So that's really what this next one is focused on.
Excellent. So we're just kind of moving along with the process like we always do. And once again, August 21st at 5 p.m., Oshkosh Media will be covering it live, and we'll be replaying it as well. So be sure to tune in for that if you can't make it or view it when it's live. Moving down to our next topic, John, we want to talk a little bit about a local business closing and concern with TIF, and just kind of how the city's relationship with that goes. So kind of take us through a little bit about what we're looking at, and maybe we can kind of help dispel some of the rumors that are going on out there.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. And for folks that don't know, the Granary restaurant is going to be going through a closing, and I think that's disappointing for a lot of folks because it's such a historic landmark, and there was so much work that was put into renovating the Granary, and it's really beautiful right now. And it's my understanding that they've been doing quite well, but there's a partner that's involved in the ownership that is going to be moving out of state. So it's my understanding that they're hopeful that another owner can pick up where the Granary left off after they started everything and got in place. But that's something that's going to take place and take a little bit of time. But as you said, there have been some folks that have talked to me a little bit about, concern over, how TIF may or may not have been used in this particular area of the city. And I think for people that don't understand how TIF works, it can be concerning, But the city has evolved in how it's used TIF over time, and I've had the opportunity to see that, I guess, because I'm more of an old-timer than most. And whereas TIF, I think, in some of the early years when I was here, was used a little in a way where I would say it was a little more risky to the city, because we were maybe a little more hungry for development. Yeah, the way it's set up right now, we primarily use a tool called a pay-go TIF, and that's kind of an acronym for pay-as-you-go. And the way that works is there are increments that are provided to the developers, but those increments are only provided in a manner where they're provided as they're earned, not like a large amount of money up front. So, as I mentioned, I know some folks were concerned about, potential exposure to the city or
just those long-term financial impacts.
Long-term financial impacts, but because we use pretty much exclusively the PAYGO model now going forward, it's not really a concern for the long term.
Okay.
In terms of financial impacts.
So we can all, everything's okay
yeah,
with the tip.
It's okay, and I'm looking forward to somebody else picking up the granary and moving forward because I enjoyed going there myself.
Definitely, as did I. So thank you for the background on how the pay-as-you-go or the PAYGO tip works. And so it's comforting to hear it's really not a cause for alarm because as the business that is involved in the TIF is successful is how that works. So it's kind of as-you-go situation.
That's what the acronym stands for.
Excellent.
So, yes.
Wonderful. Moving down, we've got another update that we want to get out to the public, and that is the Oregon and West 20th Ave intersection closure. If you've been around the area, you know it's now closed.
Right.
And just a little bit of update on how it's been going, John.
Well, I think it's been going very well. I know we're getting closer to reopening. I think it's going to be mid-fall, so probably around October, something like that. But in talking about businesses and supporting businesses, I'm sure that all the businesses that are in those areas certainly appreciate folks taking their time to navigate that area and still support them.
Yes, as we said when Oregon was closed, the businesses are affected by stuff like
Sure,
this, and so
absolutely.
we want to make sure people are aware that they're still open and they're still available.
Absolutely. Yep, I think it's going to be nice when it's finished, but just enduring that process is difficult for the business community and also for the customers, but I know they appreciate the fact that the community still supports them.
Definitely. And so like you said, reopening mid-fall, so probably late October is what I was told. There's no exact date yet on this. As they continue, they'll have updates. I believe they are posting on the Department of Public Works website page through the city website. So if you're interested in updates, they might even have a subscription list listed on their website that you can subscribe to. So a lot of great things going on, and we're happy to see this intersection getting redone and hopefully have a really nice outcome here.
Absolutely, yes.
Another thing that we want to make sure that our viewers are aware of is a training exercise coming up at Carl Traeger School, and that is going to be happening on August 12th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we just want to make sure people are aware that there's going to be a pretty large police presence there in public safety.
Yes, our police department's going to be there. Oshkosh Fire Department's going to be there. We're going to be working with University Police also. So it's important for us to practice and also involve other large partners in that practice too. So, God forbid anything would happen here in our community. We've been pretty fortunate. We've seen a lot of tragedies that have taken place, just recently in a lot of other communities in Ohio and in Texas and unfortunately California. Too many instances. But we want to make sure that we're prepared to respond when and if that takes place. And the only way you can do that is to think about some of those issues in advance. And also, we spend a lot of time with our staff training and practicing and, considering what-if scenarios. But other people may not. School districts, we're fortunate we have a really good working relationship with them, and they are very cooperative in terms of planning and pre-planning. And they want their staff to feel comfortable so they can do the best job that they can supporting the community too. So it's something that unfortunately is a necessary activity, but we don't want the public to be alarmed when it takes place. Yes. So that's why we wanted to let them know in advance.
So trying to build awareness that this is going on. And like you said, this is kind of an annual, I think somewhat annual, but they do it quite regularly. I think they had one at the movie theater the last time.
Right.
So
periodically.
Different
sets of circumstances. So.
Exactly. Different settings that they're trying to find. So for just a few extra facts, this will be held mostly outdoors, and signs will be posted in that general area. So if you live in that area or, are crossing paths with that area, you should be able to see where that's going to be taking place. Just avoid entering the staging area and avoid kind of getting in the way of the employees that are going to be doing the training exercise here. You may hear loud noises and notice some increased presence, but just know that it's all just an exercise, and it should be wrapping up around noon that day.
Yeah,
so
right.
thank you for your understanding with that. And then finally, the last thing that we want to cover here in the first half of CMR is Go Transit is offering a free rides day on Friday, August 20th. And it's exactly as it sounds, free rides to the community all day long.
Right, for folks that haven't had the opportunity to use Go Transit in a while, I think it's something that they may want to take advantage of. There's a lot of different opportunities. Their routes have been updated. They take great pride in providing opportunities for folks to just navigate the city and access all kinds of different things. So if you're not doing anything on Friday, or you'd like to just check out, some of the routes and what might be available, I think it'd be a fun experience.
Yes, and they plan it for this time of year too, so that parents have the opportunity too to bring their kids on the bus, especially kids who might be riding the bus by themselves for the first time coming to school. So it's kind of a good trial run day.
It is, and it's a good trial run because parents and children can, work on it together, talk about any concerns that might take place, and our staff know that, and they're I believe they're helpful all the time, and they try to be helpful all the time. We get a lot of positive comments about our transit operators. I think they view themselves as ambassadors to the city like all of our employees do, but they kind of have a special and unique capacity to do that based on their jobs. So if you have an opportunity, stop out and talk to them.
All are welcome. So for more info on schedules and routes, you can visit ridegotransit.com. They do have a new app as well, too. So definitely check that out as well. And then once more, free rides day, August 20th, and take advantage of that and ride Go Transit. So we're going to take a quick break here on City Manager's Report. And when we return, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Common Council meeting agenda highlights coming up for this Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. We'll be right back.
If you lined up all the unused computers in Wisconsin households, they'd go from Milwaukee to Kansas City. But did you know since 2010, we've recycled more than 250 million pounds of electronics in Wisconsin alone? And most of those electronics were processed and recycled right here in Wisconsin. So don't let your old electronics pile up. Give them new life. Use eCycle Wisconsin to find an electronics collection site near you.
Thanks for buying a fishing license. I want you to picture all the great things this simple purchase does. Like building public boat ramps, keeping local waters clean, and maintaining a healthy fish population. When you buy a fishing license, you do a lot. Every dollar protects and maintains your local waterways for future generations to enjoy. Learn more at takemefishing.org/Wisconsin.
Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. We're in the second half of the show, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights coming up on Tuesday, August 13th, 2019 for the Common Council meeting. So the first thing that we want to address here is a workshop taking place right before the meeting at 5 p.m. And this is a workshop on policy for acquiring and disposing of real estate. So John, take us through exactly what they're going to be discussing.
Sure, I'm pretty familiar with this. I was working with the group that developed the information that's going to be shared with council. So what was really, I think they've done a fine job identifying all the different circumstances that might contribute to real estate acquisition and disposal. So I think it'll be good for the council to review this and also for the citizens to see the different circumstances. So it's really designed to, right now we've identified kind of 3 different tracks of how real estate may or may not be acquired and disposed of. And that's a pretty busy chart, it looks like. That's on your screen.
Hard to read on screen.
But I think, it serves the purpose of just showing graphically that there are a lot of different parties that are involved, boards and commissions, the council, staff, and there are a lot of decisions that may impact how the acquisition or disposition actually take place. So even though you can't read all the specifics, we're going to be walking through all those specifics in that workshop. And just know that there are a lot of variables, and we think it's important for everyone to know that because without knowing that detail and without memorizing that detail, I think some people may think that there isn't a lot of thought or a lot of structure or process put into this, that it's just kind of made up as we go along, and that's certainly not the case. So we want to dispel any of those thoughts, inform and educate, and just be transparent about how this works. And I hope the council enjoys it, and I think the public will too.
Definitely. And Oshkosh Media will be covering it live too. So once again, 5 p.m. on August 13th is that workshop taking place, and we'll be airing replays of that as well. Moving down our list, we have the proclamation for Civility Month. So John, explain to us what Civility Month is.
Sure. Civility Month is, I think it's annually been identified as this month coming up, and it really honors the idea of how we deal with each other. It looks like we have a graphic on the screen that we talk about when we worked on establishing our civility pledge here for our community, and also signing on to that pledge. And that was something that a private citizen, Walter Scott, initiated here because of his familiarity with the program in Duluth, Minnesota, and also where it originated on the West Coast. And so for folks that weren't around when it first started, there was a book that was written by P.J. Forney. He's a pretty famous author on this topic, and we had P.J. come to the city of Oshkosh. He provided some lectures on the subject at the convention center, and I thought that was really well done. And it's just a way to make sure people understand that we invite disagreement from folks, and of course agreement, but it has to be done in a way where everybody has an opportunity to express themselves, and people are treated with respect. And the council members certainly believe in that. I know our citizens do too, and the staff do as well. So it's a good reminder, and I'm proud of the fact that we're one of the communities that participate in this and have signed on to the pledge.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. And now moving down under consent agenda, John, we've got quite a few items to breeze through here. So we've got, the first one is the wastewater treatment plant digester mixing upgrade. It's a big number. It's almost a little over $1.5 million here, and it's a couple items on the agenda relating to this. So take us through what that
Right.
is.
It's just, as you mentioned, it's a process whereby organic matter in our waste is converted to biogas, and we use that process. It's called anaerobic digestion at our wastewater treatment plant. And we need some new equipment. We certainly got our money's worth out of the equipment that we have, and it's time for an upgrade.
Excellent. And then right after that, we've got the Oshkosh Avenue North Keller roundabout modifications. And this is taking place in that area that a lot's going on over there.
There is a lot going on, and I think people know that Oshkosh Corporation headquarters are in that area. And we anticipate that there's going to be a significant traffic flow because of that new area, not to mention the future park that is going to exist there. And we want to make sure that the traveling public can move through that area, and emergency vehicles can move through that area as quickly and as easily as possible. So we're designing a right turn only lane that works with that roundabout in order to keep the traffic moving smoothly. That's really what this is about.
Sure. So great thing to kind of help mitigate traffic, like you said,
right.
in what's going to be a very busy area.
Yeah.
Right after that, we've got Oshkosh Media on the agenda here, and that's for some AV equipment in the amount of $39,384. And if you'd like, I can kind of
I know you know a little bit about that. Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
So what this is, it's the last step in the transition to digital and HD coverage. So here in the studio, we are upgrading all our equipment that we can now bring digital and HD coverage to the in-studio programs that take place here at Oshkosh Media. So all those things will now be in HD on all of our channels. I believe it's been about 15 years since the equipment in here has all been updated.
Right,
so.
It's been a long process, but I know you're very anxious, and the staff is very anxious to get that put in place and then have all our programs be broadcast in HD.
Yes, we're very excited.
Right.
And a quick little rundown of where we're all located is on Spectrum Cable, AT&T UVerse, Roku, Apple TV, OshkoshMedia.org, as well as our YouTube channel and our Facebook page.
Right.
So a lot of great ways to watch us, and now all of it's going to be in HD, so we're very excited about that.
Yes, right. It's going to be nice.
Yes. Moving down under consent agenda, John, we've got the asphalt overlay program and 3 streets listed here: Madison Street, Northwestern Avenue, and West 10th Avenue. So
Right.
explain what this program is.
Well, people are familiar with how their streets are reconstructed, and we just had a lot of dialogue about how that process works recently. But there are some streets that aren't ready for reconstruction yet, or can't be scheduled for reconstruction, but still are in need of repair. So we call that our cold mix program, although not all the asphalt is cold mix. You know, it's just kind of a misnomer. But the idea is we want to make sure that those other streets that are in need of repair are in good traveling condition until we can get to a point where they can be totally reconstructed. So that's what this program is.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the background on
Sure.
that. And then moving down, the last few items that we have are all development related. So we're excited to bring forward the new plan for garages and parking lot reconstruction at 207 East Irving. And those are actually the old Dale School apartments.
Right. I think this is really a neat initiative because it is it's an example of how reuse can really take place and still be an attractive part of the neighborhood. So this is for folks that may not be familiar with this. If you're driving on Irving and you see kind of a brick building and people say, oh, I wonder what that brick building is or what it's used for. It used to be Dale School, and it's been converted to an apartment complex. And there were some garages there that really didn't mesh with the whole brick motif of Dale School, which is kind of a stately building. So the folks who are responsible for that new development decided, hey, we want to tie this in and we want it to look really nice, as if it's always been this way. So they have some garages that are planned that, is my understanding, are going to look pretty much like the school itself, with the brick focus. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think the neighborhood, I think, appreciates that, and it's been our experience too that when people take that kind of care with their properties, it has an impact on others, and they take pride in their neighborhood too. So it's just kind of a cool initiative, I think.
Overall, big positive changes happening in that area,
right.
Definitely. Moving down consent, we've got the specific implementation plan. This is an amendment for mixed-use site at 851 South Main Street. This is the old Miles Kimball building, so just
Right.
some updates going on.
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of another renewal initiative, and I know Oracular is building their new location there, and the Miles Kimball building, for people that don't know, was originally erected in I think 1900. So this is it's going to be modernized quite a bit. They had talked to the council about this development quite a while ago and needed to modify some of the terms. There aren't a lot of things that have changed, with the exception of, unfortunately, there was a rooftop bar and I think little bistro that was planned, and I was looking forward to that.
So was
that
I.
would have been cool, especially close to the water. But with the exception of that and some other very minor modifications, it's still going forward, and that's exciting because that building is not been used for quite some time, and I think it's another addition to the south side, which we're very proud of.
Yes, very exciting implementation here.
Right.
And then we've got 2 new resolutions that we want to really quickly cover here. First one is being a development agreement with Merge LLC, and this is for the Marion Road redevelopment area.
Right, and I think folks have been following these processes. There's really 2 developments there. You're right. The first one is in Marion Road, and it's Merge. They're a company from Iowa, and they're adding not only some spaces for folks to live, but also the potential of some other retail space, and potentially we'll see, maybe a grocery store downtown, but I know that's not totally up to them. So I think the community's been looking forward to that for quite some time, and I think the other development is over by Aviation Plaza.
Yes, that's the mine shaft, and it's been a big news story here in Oshkosh.
Right. I think they had the groundbreaking recently, and I think that's something that's going to be a unique venue for the community too, and there are a lot of folks very excited about that.
Yes, very exciting. As you can see, some of the 3D renderings coming through here. A lot of changes happening, and this has been a long road with the Aviation Plaza area.
Right. I think it's been underutilized for quite some time since Walmart changed locations, so it's going to be nice to have that area updated and fully utilized.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, that takes us through all the items that we were going to discuss today, and we just made it in the nick of time. So I appreciate you stepping in for Mark today, Fitz, and it's always good to have you. So thanks for joining us on City Manager's Report.
Thank you again for having me, Emily.
Once again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, August 13th. It's at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website, oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on the radio or on your mobile device on the TuneIn app. Make sure you like us on Facebook or all of our other social media channels to follow us, and then check out our YouTube channel for replays of our episodes of your favorite programs. So once more, we'd like to thank you for joining us on City Managers Report.